Hello fragrance family, welcome to Fragrance Therapy. I'm your host Alim. Now Afnan is one of those fragrance houses that I really admire because they don't put out tons and tons of stuff every year. They'll put out a few fragrances, but especially recently, but you know with those fragrances you're going to get some quality stuff. Now they really have two flagship lines, one is Supremacy and one is 9pm. I know they have the Tarathi line and some other ones, but those are their two main ones. Now the Supremacy line has more releases, they have 8 total releases. The Afnan 9pm line has 4 right now, but they did just announce 9pm Night Out. I think it's actually maybe even available on their website. Look out for a review for that one when I get it in hand. Anyway, I thought it would be fun to rank all 8 from the Supremacy line from my least to most favorite. Now number 1 might surprise you, it may not. Let's find out. Now, like I mentioned, these are my rankings. If they don't line up with yours, it's totally cool. We all have our own taste. But when it comes to these 8 fragrances, for me, the top 7 are here, and way down here is number 8. And that one is Afnan's Supremacy Gold. And I have no idea what this is cloning. Whatever it is, all you really need to know is this is super intensely sweet. Now, when I couldn't put my finger on what it was cloning, I did check Fragrantica, and everything on there is wrong. It says it has tons of florals, it has violet, peach blossom, and iris, spices like cumin and nutmeg, and this resinous base with benzoin, ambers, and vanilla. People are saying this smells like Tom Ford Noir, just based on the notes, not based on how this smells. When things didn't line up, I did go to Afnan's website and I found the actual notes. The notes go like this, actually. Top notes include ylang ylang and neroli. In the mid, you get vetiver, white musk, and vanilla. In the base, you get jasmine, more musk, and sandalwood. Like I said, totally different from what it says on Fragrantica. I get this sickly sweetness that makes me nauseous, honestly. And it's common for fragrances, at least for me, that have a strong ylang ylang note. And ylang ylang is one of my least favorite fragrance chords. I honestly think they should not put it, especially in men's fragrances, just get it out. Now, performance-wise, it is an excellent performer, 8 hours, strong projection. It's a fall and winter fragrance, it's just too cloying and too sweet for anything besides that. To my nose, this thing leans way feminine, and it was like instantaneous. As soon as I smelled this, I knew this was going to be my least favorite Supremacy fragrance out there. At number 7, we have Supremacy Silver, and this is the one that kicked off the entire line, and it's their take on Creed Aventus. Now, this thing came back way out in 2013. It was excellent for its time. Honestly, in 2013, most of the clones out there were like jokes. The issue is that we're doing this ranking in 2026. And we don't need to go over the scent profile. Everyone knows it's that smoky pineapple. But this one, it just doesn't perform. You can get maybe 6 hours max. Projection is not there. Yes, it is a quintessential year-round scent. It's not bad. It's just that at this time, there's just so many better Aventus clones out there that this is just not an option anymore. Look, the placement of this next one might piss some people off, but for me, number 6 goes to Afnan Supremacy in Heaven, and this is a twist on Creed Silver Mountain Water. This is also a very known scent profile. We're talking about woody, aromatic, super clean, citrus, green tea. But the thing that turns me off about this one, and basically all Silver Mountain clones, is that super inky metallic accord. And for me, I just can't stomach that in Silver Mountain Water or any of its clones. I get it, it's a me thing. I know tons of people out there love this DNA. And to be fair, I think this one is probably the least metallic, least inky clone out there. And it definitely tones it down when you compare it to the OG. And it has notes that I love. I love tea fragrances, anything that has citrus, blackcurrant. Love those fragrances typically. It's just that metallic note that just goes, like, hits me right in the head. And it's something that I can admire, but I just cannot wear. Moderate longevity, about 7 hours. Projection is good. I think it actually doesn't perform as well as some of the other clones out there because they did in fact tone down those metallic inky accords. There are other Silver Mountain dupes out there that perform much better and get even closer to the OG if that's what you're looking for. For example, Armaux's Club de Nuit Sillage. If you're looking for a more one-to-one take that performs like a beast, that's the one you want to go with. But if you're like me and you struggle with some of those metallic inky notes, this is probably the more wearable version. If you're into this fragrance, spring, summer, excellent for daytime. Office if you don't overspray it. I know it's very wearable. I know people love it. It's just not for me. Now, people might lose their mind that I put the next one ahead of Supremacy in Heaven. But for me, next up, which is 8, 7, 6, 5. In the 5th spot, we have Supremacy Incense. And this is probably the most divisive one in the line, and this is inspired by Homage's Interlude Man. Look, this thing gets incredibly close to the OG, and both the OG and this are monster performers, but, you know, they call the original Homage Interlude Man the Blue Beast. So this doesn't quite reach those heights, but still, super strong performer. But this thing is not for everyone. Tons of notes that people find challenging. You're going to get this strong, smoky, as the name suggests, incense in this, deep balsamic resins, this very strong, dark, woody oud. It is a powerfully dense fragrance for those people who want to make a statement and really like something that really stands out. Now, like I said, it is challenging. There's like almost a medicinal quality to it. Like I mentioned earlier, monster beast mode performer. 10 plus hours, very loud projection, fall and winter only, strictly for the colder months. Talk about evenings, formal wear. I find incense fragrances challenging as well, but for some reason, the incense in this, I find it wearable. But I would say this is probably the least blind buy safe in the entire line. At my number 4 spot, we have Afnan Supremacy Noir, and this is inspired by Bottega Veneta pour Homme. I think that's how you say it, and I've never smelt the OG, but this one will remind you of like walking through a pine forest in like the middle of a rainstorm. It's dark, it's masculine, and very, very aromatic. I mean, just check out the notes. On top, you're getting Siberian pine, spruce, and bergamot, that really cold, foresty opening. Then you get some really aromatic and dense notes with leather, lavender, and clary sage. Almost gives it like a little barbershoppy feel. And then in the base, you get patchouli, labdanum, amber. It dries down warm, earthy, and with a slight resinous finish. Performance is not great with this one. You're only going to get about 6 to 7 hours on skin. Projection is good, but it's not a room filler. Of the top half of this list, definitely the one that performs the least. Look, this is best for like fall, winter, maybe spring evenings. It's just too thick and heavy for those really hot days. I love that they took a lesser known fragrance and decided to make a dupe of that one instead of like the same stuff that everybody's doing. For me, the opening is very solid. It's really good, but the dry down is where this thing really truly shines. One of the biggest issues I've heard with this one is that the OG is not that expensive. I mean, it's still more than double what this is, but it's not like some of the other niche fragrances out there. So you do want to keep that in mind just in case you are somebody who prefers OGs when they're not that much more expensive. Give that one a shot, otherwise this is a solid release. At my number 3 spot, we have Afnan Supremacy in Oud. And this is Afnan's take on Initio's Oud for Greatness. Look, this is mostly just an aromatic, spicy fragrance with some fruits. I know it says Oud in here, but it's a very Western-friendly, modern version of oud. Supremely wearable, not funky or animalic at all. The notes include saffron. If you've seen my other videos, you know I'm a sucker for saffron in fragrances. Nutmeg and that aromatic lavender. In the mid, you get agarwood. Like I said, it's not too animalic, not too strong. And in the base, you get patchouli and musk. It gives it a little bit earthy, but still mostly a clean finish. I think the musk is much stronger than the patchouli. This one is also another very, very strong performer, kind of bordering on beast mode. It's an extrait de parfum. Longevity is 9+ hours on skin, for days on clothes. Projection is very, very strong. Definitely can be a room filler, so you gotta be careful with the sprays on this. The biggest difference between this and the OG is in the OG, the opening is smoother and it's definitely more refined. This thing definitely comes off a little bit harsher, a little bit more synthetic, at least for the first 10 to 15 minutes. After that, when it dries down, it's like 90%. Honestly, in the air, you can't distinguish them apart. Great beginner oud fragrance for the fall and winter. Great for formal occasions. But another one that I think is too heavy for the high heat, especially summer days. And don't use this in like small office environments. It might overwhelm your coworkers. Also, I think this might be the best Oud for Greatness clone out there. I really haven't tested them side by side, but just based off of memory, I think this is the one. My number 1 and 2 are really, really close, but there are reasons I'll explain why my number 1 is my number 1, but this might shock some people because everybody glazes this one, and that's my number 2 spot goes to Afnan Supremacy Collector's Edition. And this, of course, is their take on Creed's Aventus Absolute. Another profile that people have gotten to know really well, fruity, woody, with a good dose of white florals. I think this one is actually a brighter, more fruitier take on Aventus Absolute. In my opinion, this actually mixes the Absolute Aventus DNA with like 9 PM Rebel. The fruits up top, those pineapples and apples, definitely more prominent here. More prominent, I think, even those clean white florals and ambergris. And it's just a little bit less dense in the dry down as well. I feel like they took a more youthful approach on the DNA, which is totally fine. I'm not one for like, oh, these are old men fragrances, these are young men fragrances. They just decided to do a twist, and it's a good twist. But if you're looking for more of a one-to-one clone of Absolute Ventus, this is not the one. But still, awesome fragrance on its own right. Excellent performance, 8 hours on skin, projection is strong, very versatile. I think makes it even more versatile. That sweetness makes it even more versatile than the original, because the denseness and the darkness and the depth of the OG maybe doesn't work so well in the high heat. This one I think you can truly wear year-round. Excellent twist on the OG. If you're actually one that prefers it when these clone fragrances are not a one-to-one and add their own little twist, you'll probably enjoy this one more. And after a lot of back and forth, for me, by a small margin, my number one goes to Afnan's Supremacy Not Only Intense. And this also lives in the Creed Aventus family, but this is Creed Aventus mixed with Nishane's Hachivat. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Hachivat smells a lot like Aventus. That's true, but there is a very distinct difference, and that's that heavy oak moss that the original Hachivat has. This one kind of lives somewhere in between Hachivat and the original Creed Aventus. There's definitely a prominent oak moss in here. Maybe it doesn't go quite as far with the oak moss as Hachivat does, but it's definitely there and you can definitely notice it. You also get this really good dose of saffron, this leather note. Even though the leather is not listed in the notes, I still pick it up in the background. Another super strong performer. This is also Extrait de Parfum. We're talking about 9+ hours, loud, very strong projection. Spring, fall, summer, cool summer nights. Another one I think can be a little bit challenging for the really, really intense heat, though you can probably still pull it off. Now this fragrance just checks all the boxes for me. It's a twist or a hybrid of two excellent fragrances. It's a beast mode performer. It comes off a little bit more mature, a little bit more my age compared to the collector's edition, and still a compliment monster and super easy to wear. So yeah, as of right now, my number one in the entire line is still Afnan Supremacy Not Only Intense. So there you have it, folks, my ranking of all 8 Afnan Supremacy fragrances. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite, and if there's one that you would put much further ahead than I did. Also, please hit that like and subscribe button. I cannot believe it, because in 5.5 months, we've already hit 5,000 subs. Next stop is 10,000 subs, and if you are one of those people that haven't subbed yet, you can help us get there. And as always, stay tuned for more honest, affordable fragrance content. Until next time, I'm out.